Little Wonder by Onomonopia. Chapter 29. For a brief moment, time seemed to stop as every one of the spectators that were terrified out of their minds took in the scene before them. A man in black armor descended from the sky and created a crater in the middle of the soccer field before blasting a structure made of metal to ash. Now he was standing in the center of the field with one hand at Rainbow Dash's throat, while he glared down each person in the stadium. Then the panic started. Students started screaming in horror as he started to race for the exits, fleeing in fear and the being that would incinerate them the same way he had the gold. Silence! Assad roared with such fury that it felt like an entire planet shook beneath his might. Every living being that was within hearing distance of his shout went silent and stopped moving. All except for Diana, who glared at the being that stood against the destruction with a sheer look of wrath upon her face. Once every person had been silenced, and Zod was certain that no one was trying to escape, he decided to continue speaking.
Greetings, mortals. Do not fear me, for I have come to forswear I will leave you all in peace.
Zod promised them before tightening his grip on Das, causing her to scream in agony.
But I am not the one who will decide your fates. Instead, your lives will be decided by the hero known as Wonder Woman, because I am here to kill her.
No, you're not, Zod. There's something more going on. You're after the girls, Diana thought silently, wary of his superhearing.
Wonder Woman, I know you can hear me. I know that you would never stray far from these special students.
Zod roared before tightening his grip further on Das, squeezing tears out of her eyes as her body started to go limp.
So here's your ultimatum. For every moment you do not reveal yourself, I shall kill these students, starting with this one in my grasp.
The crowd gasped at this while Diana tightened her grip on the bleacher beneath her hard enough to tear metal.
And none of you should bother trying to escape, for if I see you trying to leave, then I'll start taking lives. So the choice is yours, Wonder Woman. Hide in darkness, or let these students die. Or face me yourself.
Diana seethed in place before glancing at the people around her. Everyone had a look of fear and terror upon their faces, except for the girls next to her, and far more concerned with Das's safety. And locked eyes with Sunset, who gazed up at Diana with uncertain eyes. Sunset, hand me my lasso. Sunset didn't say a word while she did as Diana asked, wrapping the lasso from her midsection and handing it to Diana. Diana nodded to her before gripping the lasso as hard as she started to walk towards Zod. Diana, who is that? I don't have the time to tell you, but I promise if I survive, I will tell you everything. Sunset's heart plummeted at Diana's words, but Diana had to ignore the fears of her student as she started to walk down the steps. It was hard enough for her to keep her own fears down at the moment.
Come, Wonder Woman! 30 seconds more, and I tear this one's head off,
Zod promised as he glared at Das with red eyes that made Das practically sob in fear of the being. But if he didn't have super hearing, in the silence of the stadium, Zod would have been able to hear the sounds of heels on Meta. Every eye in the stadium, including Zod's, turned towards the source of the noise, turned towards the single teacher that walked down the field. With her enhanced vision, Diana watched as every person in the stadium mouthed her name, none of them able to predict about what was about to happen next, all except for Zod, who sneered at the teacher as he walked down the field toward him. Diana stopped about 20 feet away from him, but even in her teacher's outfit, all Zod had to do to confirm her identity was clasp the lasso in hand. Release my student, Zod, and I promise your death will be painless, Diana whispered in a voice that made lightning crackle overhead. Zod smirked at the display, but tossed Das across the field anyway. Das crashed into the glass at the edge of the center field, where her friends rushed down to help her.
So, this is where you've been hiding, princess,
Zod sneered at Diana, who said nothing in reply.
Why bother with your earthly attire? Show the world who you really are, so they can all be more crushed when I kill.
Diana moved in a blur of motion and slammed her fist into Zod's face, snapping his hip back as the force went crumbling across the field. The crowd gasped in shock and awe at the sudden burst of speed, none of them able to keep up with Diana's speed. Careful what you ask for, Zod, Diana said before she let her lasso crack, whipping it to its full length before twirling it around her. Again, if you hear my cousin right now, you will hear him say, "You should use the lasso like a lasso instead of a whip." A pure light of golden power bathed the Amazon. The magical nature of the lasso changed her attire. Her earthly attire was replaced with Wonder Woman outfit, causing her to glow with light as the transformation ceased. The crowd was dead silent as Diana clasped the lasso to her hip, where she unsheathed her sword and shield, taking up a fighting stance, while Zod picked himself out of the dirt, rubbed his thumb across his mouth, before smirking as he floated to his feet.
You had better fight me with all your might, Wonder Woman,
Zod snarled as he floated towards Diana, hands folded behind his back.
Because when you die, I will destroy this world and every living being in it.
It seems your time in the underworld hasn't changed you. You're still as self-centered and evil as ever, Wonder Woman spat out. The area exploded as Zod rocketed forward with speed so blindingly fast that only Diana was able to keep up with it. She raised her shield, just in time to intercept Zod's punch. But his super strength sent Wonder Woman skidding back across the field. Wonder Woman let out a cry of fury. She lunged back across the field, stabbing Zod's chest with her sword once he was within range. Dodged the blow and retaliated with a backhand that Diana blocked with her shield once more. Yet the impact still staggered her, giving Zod a chance to drive his boot into her side and send her flying. Diana was rocketed through the goal at the end of the field, and only came to a stop when she dug her sword into the dirt to slow her speed. She glared up at time to see the blast of heat lance from Zod's eyes, forcing her to cross her arms to deflect the blast with her bracelets. She angled the blast straight up so it didn't risk hitting any of the students, but in doing so she left herself open. You see, Man of Steel, there are 8 ways you could have done to stop that whole entire thing without killing him.
Fool!
Zod said as he peered before her, driving his elbow into her spine. Wonder Woman roared in pain as she stumbled forward, only to feel Zod wrap a hand around her leg before he swung her over his head. She was slammed back first into the ground, with the impact nearly causing her to black out. Zod hurled himself into the sky before pummeling back down with both fists extended. Diana regained her senses in time to roll to the side, but she was still caught by the shockwave of Zod slamming into the ground. As the shockwave hurled her through the air, she managed to regain her balance by using the power of flight. Then Zod rocketed up and slammed his shoulder into her chest.
You cannot defeat me, woman,
Zod told Diana as he threw rapid lefts and rights that Wonder Woman could barely keep up with, let alone deflect. After a few moments of keeping Wonder Woman focused on the punches, Zod brought his knee into Diana's stomach. Wonder Woman doubled over the force of the blow. Zod sent her hurling to the ground with an elbow to the back of her head. Diana slammed her feet into the ground to stop her descent, hurling herself back into the air after Zod, causing him off guard with her sudden recovery. She slammed her skull into his nose and snapped his head back once again, giving her an opening to swing her blade. The moment before her blade cleaved through Zod, the Kryptonian unleashed a blast of air from his lungs that was the equivalent to a hurricane. Somebody did remember Super Breath. Diana was blown out the air with the force of a gale, leaving her open to a blow to the side that sent her flying into the ground.
You are strong, Wonder Woman, but you are not on par with me,
Zod taunted as he lunged at Diana, who picked herself just in time to duck under Zod's strike. She retaliated with 3 blows to Zod's stomach, before cracking him in the jaw with her palm. Despite those blows being able to fell Skyscraper, all Zod did was smile before slamming his elbow into Wonder Woman's jaw to send her spinning.
I am the equal to the strongest being in your world. I possess the same powers as him, but with a far greater intellect,
Zod reminded Wonder Woman as he grabbed her by the head and dove his knee to her stomach. Diana coughed blood before dropping to one knee, causing Zod to smile as he glared down at her.
Close. I know you can do better,
Zod said when his eyes began to glow red, lifting a boot over her head.
Now, before I kill you, I want you to kneel!
Zod slammed his foot down towards Diana, When a flash of motion, she lifted her blade and dove the tip of it clean through Zod's foot. Zod howled in more surprise than pain before Wonder Woman was back on her feet, slashing through Zod's armor, drawing blood as her blade ripped apart the flesh on his chest. She spun and prepared to release another strike, but before she could, Zod slammed his hands together to create a shockwave that blasted her back. Oh, he muttered as he placed his hand to his chest, brought back to see blood gleaming on his hand.
How could you possibly hurt me? I am Zod! I do not—
Wonder Woman silenced Zod by letting her shield fly right into his face, leaving him open to a knee that cracked the general's nose. Zod roared in pain before Diana drove her boots into his chest, driving him to the ground with enough force to shatter the surrounding area. You said it yourself, Zod, Wonder Woman growled as she grabbed Zod by the throat and pulled him out of the crater as she made with his body. You have all of Superman's powers, along with his weaknesses. What's the matter? You never felt the sting of magic before? Zod snarled before letting twin beams of heat strike Diana in the face. Diana roared in pain as she staggered backwards, trying to regain her sight. Oh, dang, does he get blind again? Zod took advantage of the situation and hurled another punch into Diana's chest. The entire stadium could hear the sounds of Diana's bones breaking from the blow before she was sent hurtling up into the sky. With a force of effort and will, Wonder Woman ceased her momentum, roaring in both pain and fury as she hurled herself back into battle. Zod dodged her sword strike and slammed his hand onto her wrist, causing Diana to drop her sword, then swung her with all his might, while Diana brought up her shield to defend herself. But even Amazonian crafted weaponry couldn't stand to the overwhelming might of Superman, and Diana's shield shattered to shards from the impact of Zod's fist. Wonder Woman dug her heels to the ground to keep herself from being rocketed back. Both parties assessed each other as they began to circle another, neither wanting to make the first move that might put them in danger. Zod then smirked before he turned towards the crowd, fired out a beam of heat vision right at the spot where Sunset and her friends were sitting. The girls had enough time to register the beam of light before Diana was in front of them, using their bracelets to deflect the heat vision away from them. But even though she succeeded in saving Sunset and the others, doing so she played straight into Zod's hands. With super speed, Zod appeared right behind Diana, dove both fists into her back, sending her crashing down to the dirt. Diana growled in pain as she pulled herself out of the ground, but when she glanced up at Zod, all she saw was his foot as it slammed into her face. Zod grabbed the Amazon with both hands and pulled her out of the ground, lifting her over his head before slamming her to the ground once more. Wonder Woman weakly snarled as she struggled to push herself out of the dirt, but her process was halted when Zod placed his boot onto her chest.
Burn!
Zod whispered before releasing his heat vision on her. Even though she was pinned, Wonder Woman mustered enough strength to move her chest out of the way of the blast. Instead of burning through her heart, the piercing heat flames lanced through her left shoulder, getting Wonder Woman to roar in pain.
Does it hurt, Wonder Woman? Good. Because I want you to know that the pain you feel right now is what I shall inflict everything on this world, and the world of the Son of Jor-El. This pain is only the beginning.
Zod ceased his heat vision before reaching down with blinding speeds. Grabbing Diana by the face, he pulled her head up before diving the back of her skull into the ground. He repeated the process twice before he completely pulled her out of the earth. Holding her up by her face, he began to squeeze. Diana clawed at Zod's hands as he felt his fingers start to crush her skull, but her power couldn't break the strip of steel.
Now you die, Wonder Woman. And as you die, I want you to know you are only the first.
Zod promised Diana.
Soon, your precious league will join you in the underworld, where Hades will force you to suffer for the rest of eternity. So watch, Wonder Woman, as I go!
Wonder Woman felt the pressure alleviate from her skull as something distracted Zod. Knowing that might be the only chance she got, Diana kicked out with both legs for all she was worth, caught Zod in his in. The blow was strong enough to completely break his grasp, but even as Diana fell to the ground, Zod snarled before striking Diana in the side of the head.
Who dares to interfere?
Zod asked in a whisper as he turned around to see who had struck him. But his bafflement and Diana's utter horror, they both found a girl with red hair holding Diana's magic sword. This now even had more of Zod's blood upon it.
And what do you think you are doing?
Zod asked in a tone that would have scared the gods. What Diana would do for me, Stopping you! Sunset barely managed to choke out. Twilight, I'm starting to understand how you felt about Livy's adventures in Equestria. Yeah, what is with some of these things making us into cowards? Tell me about it.
You would take me on for her?
Zod asked before swatting the blade out of Sunset's hand, grabbing her by the throat. Wonder Woman roared as she lunged up at Zod, but the attack had been anticipated by him and drove her boot into her face. He slammed into her face into the ground to keep her pinned there with his power, before turning his full attention to the girl that was struggling in his grasp. He looked from the student to the struggling teacher, a smile spreading across his face as he did so.
You wish to be so much like her?
Zod asked Sunset as his eyes glowed red, and he right in Sunset's face.
Then you could die like her!
I mean, seriously, what is even the heck? Well, Twilight, being older and a little bit smarter than you, oh, no offense, little sis, I can come up to one good conclusion. They figure since we believe in love and friendship and peace that we must be cowards when it comes to a real fight. Oh, I get it. Chapter 30. In the Face of War. No, 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 no! Wait a minute! The roar of Hades ripped through Zod's mind, causing Zod to curse as he held a hand to his head. Since he heard Sansa attack, Diana kicked one leg and caught Zod in a very tender area. Zod wheezed as he doubled over, dropping Sunset, giving up pressure on Diana while he staggered back. Diana was on her feet a second later, and started unloading into Zod's face with lefts and rights. Sunset, are you alright? Applejack called out, seeing the other girls rush to Sunset's side, except for Das, who was staying far away from Zod as possible. Oh, hon, why did you have to say that? You probably just... Remember when I said I would quit? Yeah. I definitely go. You're letting me go? Yeah. Just like that? Pretty much, yeah. You're just gonna let me walk out? Do it. I'm tempted to walk out too. This Vic disappointed in me at this point. Well, you are getting more honest at. Yeah. Just go. We'll replace you with Ruby. I'm fine. Sunset covered her friends as he held her back up. Sunset then turned her gaze back to the battle, where Zod managed to gain the upper hand against Diana. Sunset spied Diana's sword and rushed over to it, but reached down to grab it, a hand stopped her. What are you doing, Applejack? I had to get in there and... And what? Get yourself killed? Ruby Yang screamed as he held her friend. Sunset, this is a battle between monsters. None of us can even keep up with what's happening. You shouldn't be anywhere near these two. None of us should. Why in the same hell will you risk your life for? Because I owe Diana my life. Now let go. Sunset hurled Applejack off of her with strength that none of the girls knew she possessed. Sunset snatched up the sword before racing back towards the battle. We need to help her. That darn fool's gonna get her killed, Yang said to the others. Come on, girls, let's... Yeah, when Dash left, Applejack went with her.
By all means,
Zod said as he appeared before Yang and grabbed her by her throat, knocking the other girls to the ground with a simple wave of his free hand.
Enter the battle. Give me a reason to kill you before you can even blink.
Wonder Woman appeared behind Zod a second later, managed to get the lasso around Zod's neck. Despite how strong he was, even Zod couldn't break free of its power. Wonder Woman then chopped Zod's arm with her hand, forcing him to let go of the girl. This is between us, Zod! Wonder Woman roared, or as she rocketed towards Zod. That much is obvious. That's just between you two. Yep. Don't even know why this is a crossover. Wonder Woman roared as he rocketed Zod across the field faster than anyone could register, tightening a lasso around his throat. Answer me, Zod! Why does Hades keep sending you undead bastards here? Why does he kill Sunset? The magic? Remember? Hades, Wonder Woman roared as he yanked the lasso while repeatedly punching Zod in the face for good measure. Hades wants her magic. Why did he kill her? Well, kind of answers my own question there.
I do not give a damn about what Hades wants. No one controls Zod!
Zod roared before reaching up and grabbing hold of Diana's arms, flinging her over his head and slamming her to the ground at his feet. He then reached up and unraveled the lasso from his throat, snarling down as he tossed it aside.
But I'll kill that girl and any others you care about, just to make you suffer. Just watch as you writhe before I extinguish your pathetic life.
Not on my watch, Zod. You've been killed before, and I will do it again, Wonder Woman promised before rocking herself into Zod's gut, falling with an uppercut into the jaw that staggered Zod. Diana, catch! Sunset called out as she tossed the sword to Diana. Wonder Woman held out her hand and caught the blade out of the air, twirling it in her grasp before she went on the offensive. Zod was forced to duck and dodge out of the way of each sword swing, for every time he tried to retaliate, Wonder Woman was deflected and attempted a comeback. Zod threw a punch at Diana's head with supersonic speeds, but a lifetime of training gave Wonder Woman the reflexes to duck the attack, retaliate with a sword swing that cleaved Zod's arm from his body. Zod held his faint as his severed limb fell to the dirt, spewing dust from his wound, just as Grunty had done before him. Do you see, Zod? You are not alive. You're still in the grips of Hades, no matter how hard you try to escape, Wonder Woman informed Zod, who glared down at his missing limb before glaring at Wonder Woman with crimson eyes. Now, surrender, and I promise that I will send you back to Hades as painlessly as I can. Dear God, let's bleed. Wait a sec, you're going to kill him? Yang asked before for the silence as her friends helped her up. Wonder Woman cast a glance upon what the girls were horrified at the thoughts he was going to do to him. But you're such a good person. Why would you? Because he is not alive, Diana said loudly. All of the area could hear. He was revived just to do the bidding of a god. He has barely any flesh and blood, as you can see. All I will be doing when I slay him is send his soul back into the dark depths from whence it came.
Of these threats, Wonder Woman, Zod spat with a crazy smile on his face. Because how will you be able to kill me when you're too busy saving all of them?
Zod then rocketed to the sky as he spoke, laughter pure and sandy echoing over the playing field as he glared down with eyes burning like the sun. Wonder Woman realized what he was going to do and kicked off towards Zod, rocketing towards him at max speed.
Now all you can die.
Wonder Woman came to a stop across both her arms, preventing the deflected blast of heat fizzing with her bracelets. Zod let out another cackle as he took aim, before doing his heat fizzing straight into the air. Wonder Woman wondered what he was throwing, for she realized his blast had removed all the clouds, allowing the sunset to come pouring down. Oh, Hera, help me, Wonder Woman whispered before Zod roared and hurled himself at her, diving his fist into her stomach with greater power than before. Diana spat out blood before Zod dove her knee into her face, and were hurling back to the ground. The entire school shook from the force of the impact, kicking up towards the dirt and dust that blinded the petrified spectators. You guys know what made this plot work? What little thing would have helped this story immensely? Sunset killing him. It would have been that easy. Would have really helped move her on.
Yes, bathe me in your light. Restore my strength that Hades stole from me.
Zod laughed as he floated down, once again a smile as a bloodied Wonder Woman pulled herself out of the crater her body had made, shaking with both pain and rage as she took up her blade once more. Yet, before she could even take a step forward, Zod appeared beside her, drove his fist into her face. Wonder Woman was slammed back into the ground once more, where Zod began to wail on her with a single fist of malice that strained on his face. Hey, ugly! Zod turned his head up to his hand, because the grasp the lasso that had been hurled at him, catching Sunset off guard. Zod then lightly tugged the lasso, which resulted in Sunset being yanked off her feet right into the hand of the general.
Still interfering, child?
Zod asked before driving Sunset into the dirt next to Diana. Sunset let out a weak cough before going limp, causing Diana's eyes to go wide as she snarled up at Zod. Zod kicked her in the chest to send her flying across the field once more, before he used his speed to appear behind her and drive her skull to the ground. I can't beat him, she realized as Zod threw another punch into her stomach. Gods help me. He's getting stronger with each second while I can barely. What do I do?
Give in, my student. You are not using your full power. Embrace my tale and end this fool's battle. Not for your sake, then for hers.
Diana gazed down at her student before opening her wide doors to terrifying expressions of every person in the stands. She knew what she had to do. Diana let out a roar of absolute fury before spinning around, slamming her fists into the Zod's head, knocking it straight into the dirt. Reached down, removed both her bracelets from her arms, tossing it to the side before reaching with both hands. A blast of lightning descended from on high, charged her body with electricity, caused her eyes to turn a blue that mirrored the lightning. Her body began to glow with an unearthly power. But there was also something else, something every person in the stadium felt as they gazed upon Diana. For everyone watching the battle suddenly felt the urge to rise up and fight alongside Wonder Woman, to the bloody death. But Diana felt a hand when people began to rise, and she marched upon Zod. Zod sneered as he rose back up and threw a punch at Diana. But to his horror, she caught his fist with one hand, while the other reintroduced itself to her face. A sickening crunch could be heard as Zod staggered backwards, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Sinking her doubts from her mind, he spun and unleashed heat vision upon Wonder Woman. But the wonder shot lightning from her eyes and intercepted Hades' blast of heat. The explosion was generated by the two powers meeting, hurled the gods away from each other.
A pretty neat trick, using the lightning and clouds to make yourself more powerful.
Zod mocked with a sneer. Wonder Woman remained silent, letting the look of absolute wrath on her face speak for her. Zod then glared up at the dark clouds that had reformed over her head.
But you cannot keep me out of the sun forever. Come, Wonder Woman, let us take this battle between us to where it belongs, in the heavens!
Zod hurled himself up into the sky, above the clouds as he said this. He then spun around, let his eyes glow red, as he waited Wonder Woman to burst through the cloud cover. So focused on waiting her arrival, he was completely off guard when a boot slammed to the back of his head.
What?
He screamed as he spun around to find Wonder Woman falling behind him, her hands soaked in blood.
How did you get here so fast? How did I not?
Wonder Woman cut him off by driving her fist to his face, shattering his nose while also hurling Han's cloud across the sky. Zod righted himself in time to receive another blow to the face that nearly shattered his jaw. Zod roared in fury as he unleashed his heat vision upon Wonder Woman once more. But this time, the Wonder didn't bother to deflect the attack. His heat vision struck her dead in the face. With the horror of Zod, he was completely unfazed by the attack. Zod bellowed once more as he channeled all of his power into a single punch that hurled it at Wonder Woman, catching her straight in the forehead. The force of the impact blasted away all of the clouds around them, took the city below. But once again, Diana didn't even budge.
How?
Zod asked with new emotion in his face. Fear. Wonder Woman's response was to slam the hilt of her sword to the top of his head and stagger him. She then drove her fist into his face, shattering the sky as Zod was hurled down into the air into the earth. The whole planet suffered from the impact of Zod, terrifying the spectators when they saw himself pull himself out of the crater that had been made on the school grounds.
How?
Zod answered with near whisper as once Diana once more, his woman flew down in front of him, her hands dripping with blood as he pointed her sword at his throat.
How are you this powerful? You were not this strong before. What are you?
The sky seemed to black as Diana smiled. Smiled to show she was reveling in what was transpiring. What am I, Zod? I am Wonder Woman, she began before she plunged her blade right into the chest of Zod. Zod let out a roar of pain before Diana lifted the blade, saw it in the air. The black clouds overhead began to tremble at the thought of what was to come. I am an Amazon. I am a member of the Justice League. I am a champion for all. Then her gaze darkened. But I have become so much more. I am now fueled by conflict. I can make a nation bow itself through my sheer presence alone. Pain, strife, destruction now makes me more powerful than you could ever hope to be. She whispered to Zod, whose eyes grew wide at her words. Diana didn't have the thought over her head, demanding the heavens unleash their divine wrath upon him. When the skies obeyed and unleashed a bolt of Zeus down towards her, Wonder Woman roared her true name to all who could hear. I am Diana Prince, and I am the goddess of war! Lightning then descended upon her blade. It consumed Zod within its power. A god's power revived you, and a goddess's power shall destroy you. Croy let out one last roar before the lightning sent from Zeus himself burned him away into nothing. Wonder Woman then roared as he struck her blade to the ground, channeling lightning in the air so his power could not hurt anyone else. All eyes were on the figure in the stadium, who was being healed from her injuries by the destruction of rage that burned within her. But then she turned her gaze to the people who were watching, so most of them had look of rage and hatred on them, eyes ready for war. No, I am not the same god he was, Wonder Woman whispered, before she flew over to where her gauntlets lay. She slid them over her forearms once more, secured them shut. Laying out his side, she felt her godless sigh being sealed away once more. As her divine power was sealed away, so too was the desire for war that begun to burn within the hearts of those who were watching. Oh, that's too bad. I was enjoying the free breakfast. Conquest, what did I tell you about popping up? Out! But as the rage and hatred faded, the teacher and students gazed at the field, being completely destroyed in the battle between the two gods. And even though none of those in the crowd had been harmed during the battle, every eye still stared at Diana with absolute terror in their eyes. But Diana ignored their gazes as she retrieved her lasso, clipping it to her side before she collapsed to her knees. She remained kneeling in silence for minutes that were completely undisturbed, for no one on and off the field desired to get close to the woman in armor that was soaked in blood. No one, except for a single girl. Diana? Sunset asked in a near whisper while she approached Diana at a snail's pace, fear and trepidation racing through her mind. She'd never seen Diana like that before, even at her angriest. The expression upon her teacher's face when she declared who she was would give Sunset a new set of nightmares to deal with. It's you, right? You're back, right? For a long moment, Sunset wasn't sure it was Diana or the goddess that knelt on the grass before her. Then Diana turned around with the same caring, loving smile that Sunset knew all too well. Sunset sighed in relief as her legs gave out her, collapsed to the ground, joining Diana, gazing her all around the destruction that had been caused. So, you're the goddess of war, huh? Sunset asked after giving a moment's silence. Yeah, I think I can see that. Really? Diana asked with a tired smile. You see me as a powerful, terrifying, causing destruction and strife wherever I go? Sunset glanced once more at all destruction around him, the petrified faces of the crowd, the back of the black clouds that still had yet to advance. After today? Yeah, totally.